Introduction. Welcome to today's exploration into the profound and often debated topic of life's meaning, spirituality, and the role of religion and belief systems in shaping human existence. In this video, we'll delve into two critical aspects of this discussion. First, we will examine the historical and cultural perspectives on life's meaning and the creation of spiritual systems. Then, we'll explore the modern dynamics of religion, spirituality, and the quest for spiritual freedom in contemporary society. Join us as we navigate these thought-provoking themes. Chapter 1. The search for life's meaning and the role of spiritual systems. In Chapter 1, we delve into the age-old human quest to understand the meaning of life. We explore how different cultures and civilizations have grappled with this existential question, giving birth to a variety of spiritual systems and religions. This chapter examines the origins and purposes of these belief systems, highlighting their role in shaping human understanding of life, death, and existence. We also consider the implications of these systems being man-made and how they have historically influenced human thoughts and behaviors. So, what is the meaning of life? Honestly, I don't think anyone truly knows the meaning of life. I don't think anyone knows why we are here, or even what here truly is. Throughout millennia, cultures have come up with their own theories about life and the possibility of an afterlife. Ancient civilizations have hypothesized and theorized about this for as long as we can study. This curiosity has given birth to countless spiritual systems by which these civilizations lived. These systems give their existence meaning, attempting to explain the meaning of life by theorizing many possibilities, agreeing on one or more, and inevitably assigning their own meaning of life. Most involve humans created and placed on Earth by a divine being or supreme consciousness. This consciousness or divine entity assigns them a purpose, giving their life meaning, a meaning that has ultimately been given by the writers, storytellers, thought leaders, elders, and/or first rulers of those civilizations. Ultimately, this means most, if not all, spiritual systems and religions are man-made, all birthing from the curiosity about life's meaning, the purpose of existence, and the fear of death and a possible non-existence. The mystery of life and death both motivates and scares most to align with and adhere to one or more systems in an attempt to find closure before their ultimate demise. The seeking of knowledge about the mystery of life and fear of death is indoctrinating and ultimately enslaving billions, generating billions in revenue for the people who claim to have that knowledge. If that knowledge did exist, it should belong to all of humanity and not be gatekept, packaged, and sold as a commodity. In conclusion, Chapter 1 reveals that the quest for life's meaning has been a central part of human history, leading to the creation of numerous spiritual systems and religions. These belief systems, while providing meaning and guidance, are largely the products of human imagination and cultural evolution, reflecting our innate desire to understand our existence and cope with the unknowns of life and death. End of Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Modern religion, spiritual freedom, and the quest for true peace. Chapter 2. Transitions to the modern landscape of religion and spirituality, examining how these systems have evolved and their impact on individuals seeking spiritual freedom. We scrutinize the methods used by modern religious and spiritual leaders to propagate their beliefs, including the sale of knowledge and the imposition of doctrines. This chapter also reflects on the personal journey towards spiritual freedom, questioning the nature of indoctrination and exploring the concept of living a life free from imposed spiritual contracts and doctrines. Modern religion involves selling fear, a negative outcome, Satan, and promising love, an afterlife of happiness, God. It is the process of creating a problem and selling the solution, a solution through required contribution to prevent retribution. How is this not enslavement, mental enslavement, population control? And spiritually, these spiritual systems are not any different. They sell knowledge, they require tribute, they require the completion of certain tasks and compliance with certain doctrines and laws or commandments. These are derived from policymakers, doctrine writers, spiritual gurus, leaders, rulers, and gatekeepers of the knowledge that is packaged and sold as salvation. Those of us who are still religious have been indoctrinated by an age-old spiritual system that is controlled by people who don't have our best interests in mind. And those of us who have left religion are just as vulnerable. Whether we change religions and choose another indoctrination or seek a spiritual system in an attempt for spiritual freedom, most of these spiritual systems and forms of spirituality are just religious systems by another name and in a different form. And in some ways, they're even more indoctrinating than religions. From voodoo to hoodoo, the many forms of African spirituality, to the zodiacs with astrology, to cardiology, to ufology, to ancient spiritual systems of ancient Egypt and Sumeria. The same people who say the Bible is a book of stories and metaphors will tell you that the stories found in Egypt and Sumeria are true stories and that these events actually happened. Then they say that the Bible and other doctrines derived from ancient spiritual systems and that the ancient way is better. All I see is millions going from one man-made religion to another, one way of life to another, going from one God to another, one doctrine to another, one set of rules and commandments to another, one system of enslavement to another, ultimately. But that's just my personal opinion. Personally, I don't want to live how the ancient Egyptians or Sumerians lived. They did what worked for them, and we must do the same. Every thriving civilization has a solid spiritual system created by them and that evolved over time. Not really set in stone, as even those carved in stone can be replaced and updated. And they usually were with the changing of rulers and leadership. For example, whoever rules a kingdom modifies the doctrine and way of life to fit their needs. You see, man-made doctrines controlled by men parading themselves and acting as gods on earth. Speakers for and representatives of God or the gods. This means the meaning of life and purpose for existence of civilians is created and assigned by the rulers of the civilization. And in America, the government acts as God, so those that are religious are serving two gods, following two doctrines. as there is a supposed separation between church and state, separated by two very different sets of policy or doctrine makers or writers, with systems of control being their top priority, along with capitalization. It's all the same. Knowledge requires contribution, the completion of certain tasks, and also tribute. Sometimes one needs to exchange for the knowledge or outcome they seek. And it promises retribution if those tasks are not completed and tribute is not given. It's been the same for millennia. In modern times, knowledge is being sold to us as forbidden knowledge, ancient knowledge that was hidden from us. The preachers have left the church and pulpit and are on social media. The priests and ministers have leveled up and have taken their gig on the road, selling hope and dreams, selling ideas, race baiting, selling freedom in the form of a commodity, invoking fear and promising retribution on those oppressors. As those oppressors have suppressed knowledge that they must sell to us for a small fee. Basically, selling us our mental and spiritual freedom from those gatekeeping, Freemason, Illuminati, boule bastards. The vulnerability is real, as those that follow this new forbidden, untold truth, alien theorists, ancient doctrine, are becoming enslaved by their curiosity. The pursuit of knowledge is being used as an indoctrinating, intriguing, inducing draw, like a bug being drawn to light. Imagine an intriguing light source drawing in flying insects from around the world. A miniature sun on Earth drawing people in, a forbidden light, a giant Gaian light source. A huge freedom-fighting, FBA, Aboriginal ADOS, light source that promises freedom from the darkness, promising enlightenment, illumination. With knowledge being what is needed, with knowledge being the sacred, ancient, forbidden, Egyptian, and Sumerian tool to deliver us from the dark void and from evil and promises salvation. Salvation from the darkness or lack of knowledge. A deliverance from blackness, from ADOS to FBA to NAACP to NCOBRA to the Democrats to the pro-black black consciousness movement, all promising deliverance from blackness, from the stigma of blackness, freedom from darkness. Imagine a daily, constant reminder of a horrific event and time from the past, constantly being displayed and highlighted in an attempt to control the present, giving a past, and by doing so, giving an identity, giving a purpose to avoid that unfavorable past, and requiring participation and donations to have a favorable future. In my opinion, the wolves require sacrifice. The wolves have created a system in which the sheep willingly sacrifice themselves up for slaughter. To be mentally, emotionally, financially consumed by mental enslavers, energetic vampires, and greedy capitalists. All who invoke fear pose and give light to a problem of a once unknown or forbidden, untold truth about a life-ending threat that is now being disclosed by whistleblowers and former government agents. A once covered and veiled dark truth has now been given light to and offered a solution to. And Illuminati and Masonry freed from the darkness, from the 1% gatekeepers and Jewish monarchs. And this truth has now been ufology, lifted from the veil with the help of ancient aliens. and gods of the past, like Amen-Ra and Enlil, and Thor as Spider-Man, to name a few. A society once covered in darkness is now being shown the truth. A light at the end of the tunnel has now been unveiled, as it's time for a reset, more like an economic boost. The creation of another veil that is to be removed centuries from now. Sometimes I wonder, is this all a game? Is this all a social experiment? A controlled social study? A worldwide social experiment? Because sometimes it appears to be so. I'm coming to the conclusion that the meaning of life should be irrelevant to having a happy and, dare I say, meaningful life. If you need meaning, give it meaning. But be wary of those that attempt to give yours meaning. I'm above meaning currently, but that can change tomorrow. But as of now, I'm not overly concerned with any divine meaning or having a divine purpose. I just know I exist, and that when I die, I may no longer exist. So I'm going to make the best of this existence while I exist. Not knowing if existence is a gift and blessing or a curse. I just want spiritual freedom, if the spirit and soul even exist, that is. Because I accept the possibility of it not. Whatever the case, I envision spiritual freedom, free from anyone assigning me a soul and giving me a soul contract or documents, a doctrinating set of rules and commandments and beliefs and guidelines. And policies that I must agree with and adhere to in this life in order to have a favorable existence in the next, meaning afterlife. Can you see now? Religion and spiritual systems are basically soul contracts, spiritual agreements and commitments, soul and duty assignments. And it's your soul's duty to obey the commandments and rules and regulations laid and drawn out in your soul contract in order for you to have a pleasant existence in the next form of existence. If not, you'll be hellbound, and with these laws, you've become spellbound, controlled, assigned a soul, given a spiritual purpose by a divine being, a soul maker, and if you don't obey him, he's a soul taker. As what is given can be taken away, as to say, one that giveth can also taketh. And in religion, what has been given life will eventually be taken, and what happens next, after death, depends on your chosen form of indoctrination. Whoever you give your time and attention to, whoever you accepted a soul from and thus sold your soul to. Think about it. All religions and most spiritual systems, if not all, sell souls that require soul contracts. They demand constant tribute and sacrifices. Christians claim that people sell their souls to the devil. But they can only do so because God has given them a soul. And if that soul does not do what God requires, God will willingly give that soul to the devil and send it to hell. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. If you don't do God's will, he will curse you with an eternity in hell. So, who is Jesus saving us from again? From our sins, from an eternity in hell, or from his Father, as he'll be the one sending us there? Crazy, indoctrination, spiritual enslavement. To have a soul is to have a contract. I'm at the point where I just want spiritual freedom. No soul bond, no soulmate, no soul tie. Hell, no soul at all, no spirit, just consciousness. As to say, I don't know what I am, who created me, from where I came or where I will go after I die. I just know that I am. And what, you ask? No freaking idea, and I don't think anyone truly knows. But capitalists will definitely hypothesize and theorize, and if you are a truth-seeking, forbidden, untold truth knowledge UFO seeker who's willing to pay to be intrigued by a million possibilities, then come get this game, as the game is to be sold, not to be told. The newest form of, and modern Freemason illuminating, systems are giving knowledge openly to those willing to sacrifice their hard-earned money to give tribute via a conference or workshop. No more closed systems, even though the people who create the open system have one, closed and gate-kept behind the scenes. Yes, I know. I'm a jealous, pocket-watching, self-hating coon, one that's also free, at least as free as I can be. As truthfully, we're all controlled by genetics, as our DNA controls our behavior. Just as sentient AI could be controlled by the algorithm. We too have our set of coding, a biological set of laws. Coding that we, at least ourselves, follow. That's why I say, as free as I can be. Not knowing if I'm truly free, and not knowing if we're truly of free will. Now that's a true mystery. So, I'm choosing to be soulless, as that's the only way I can see myself achieving true spiritual freedom. But I acknowledge I'm still enslaved to the corporation known as America, and to my genetics. And if I die today and cease to exist and fade to black and return to that dark void known as death, at least then I'll be at peace, hopefully. I bet it'll be very quiet and dark, absent of sound and light, true peace, just like when I meditate with my eyes closed in a dark and quiet room, free of thought. Now that's true freedom, if you can remove your fear of total darkness and silence. And yes, I know it can be scary and hard to comprehend, but it's a possibility, one that many possibly should accept. Chapter 2 concludes by highlighting the complexities of modern spiritual and religious practices. It suggests that while seeking spiritual freedom and understanding, individuals often encounter various forms of indoctrination and control. The chapter emphasizes the importance of personal autonomy in one's spiritual journey and the pursuit of true peace, free from the constraints of traditional belief systems and societal expectations. End of Chapter 2. In conclusion, our journey through the realms of life's meaning, spirituality and religion reveals a complex tapestry of human beliefs and systems. From ancient civilizations to modern societies, the quest for understanding our existence and seeking spiritual freedom continues to evolve. Each individual's path to finding purpose and meaning is unique, often influenced by cultural, historical, and personal factors. As we reflect on these themes, it becomes evident that the pursuit of spiritual freedom is not only about seeking answers, but also about understanding the intricate relationship between belief systems, society, and the individual. Thank you for joining us in this thought-provoking exploration, and we hope it has provided you with insights and perspectives to ponder in your own quest for meaning and spiritual freedom.